So, hello everyone. How are you? First of all, hello to all the rising stars and all the others that join. I will be your host today, but just to kick off the conversation, then we can just discuss whatever we want. And if you don't mind, we just start for the main point that we are discussing here. That's the jurisdiction versus the governing law. So in these cross-border cases that we most of the times need to solve. So I think we could start by sharing some of our main difficulties within these cases and what do we think it's better to prevent when doing them so we can all communicate, speak together, and understand ourselves, especially between super different cultures and countries. Does anyone wants to share some experience at first? Do you want to speak? I think some of you are froze. I cannot see you. Okay, maybe now I can.
Yeah, no, I was on
You?
mute.
You was muted. You were muted, yeah.
Yeah, I can also not see most of the people, to be honest.
Yeah,
It's
some pictures disappeared for me. I don't know if you just turn off the cameras. So Marie, I stopped seeing you. I was seeing you, but now I can't.
Hello?
It's good if you could turn on the cameras, but if
Oh,
you don't
sorry.
want to,
Yeah, I have some IT problems, so I'm actually having a phone right now, and it's a bit troubling in here. I have tried to fix it. 1 second.
okay, don't worry. I just wanted you to know if any of you wanted to kickstart the conversation, but I can start by sharing my personal experience with this. I think that most of the times, the most difficult thing is to align the communication so that we don't sound rude or we don't sound super different regarding our way to behave when talking about cross-border cases. This is my main difficult thing because I'm from Portugal. From Portugal and Spain, we are super similar regarding behavior. But when we talk about other countries that we see that are different and more distant than us, we find a lot of differences that sometimes we need to overstep, changing our way of communication because we are open people. We are normally straight to the point people, and we find that some other cultures are more strict, more formal, not that informal as we are, and that could be a deal breaker when we are negotiating. For example, what I wanted you to share is if you have the same problems, if you think we can do some things to solve them, and if you have a story that you want to share about this, for example.
Yeah, I can, like, being from the Netherlands, I think that we are in a similar position that we're often seen as quite direct, and we really have to make sure that that doesn't come over as like rude. And I do recognize that. I mean, we do a lot of international work, so we one of the things that we like to say about ourselves is that we know that we are different from other cultures, and we can help our clients from the other cultures and from other countries by like translating how things are in the Netherlands to how they would perceive them back home. So I think that while yes, it is there are definitely differences, and we have to be aware of them. I think that we also all have the advantage that we do work with a lot of international people. So we are aware of those differences, and we can use them to our advantage.
Yes, it's true. Sometimes we can use the differences to have amazing partnerships because we can complement each other several times.
Yes.
And
Yeah,
other
and we
times,
can use our understanding of the differences
exactly.
to help the client do business in our country.
Yeah, that's my way of thinking too. But sometimes people can get misunderstood by emails. So I always think a call is the best way to solve things. So people
Yes.
can see each other and can discuss and can translate some sentences or ways of speaking that are not that clear sometimes.
What kind of cultural differences have you experienced with other clients across countries? And is it different, like if it's Western countries and not Western countries?
Yes, sometimes I experience most of the times with people from Asia. For example, on the way of saying hello, we Portuguese, we kiss on the cheeks, and they do not do that. And sometimes when the clients are new and when we don't have a trust relationship, we are starting from that point. It's we have a bridge there because we are going to kiss, and they are like, whoa, what's this? So we need to adapt, and more I try to read the room and understand if this client understands what I'm doing, if he does not understand, if we just shake hands, because sometimes shaking hands is also, it's not also a normal thing they do in some Asian countries. So I find this the most the biggest difficulty I have sometimes, because we are super expressive, Portuguese and Spanish. Um, and sometimes we need to be more neutral with this type of things.
Mm.
Can I just ask a question? What confuses me as somebody from Asia, from Shanghai, is that whether you kiss twice, you kiss three times. I don't know what to do.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. So now our clients that are clients like a lot of years, they kiss, like they kiss, and they are just normal with that. But at the first place, in the beginning, it was very different. But yes, now we overstep that and everything's fine. But I think the the moment I feel more uncomfortable when I get into a room is not knowing how to introduce myself to those people. That's my main issue, because I don't want them to misunderstand me or think I'm being weird. It's our way to behave. So we try to adapt and see if people understand or not.
I'm sorry I joined late. I'm Peter Pang from Shanghai. I'm not a rising star, but a falling star. But nonetheless, I decided to join and listen. But if I could just throw my 2 cents worth here, and that is, we do a lot of cross-border international, transactions with international people, whether from South America or from Europe. And yes, there are moments of awkwardness in terms of how we greet the other party. But the one thing that I found is most important is that people have a tendency to be infectious when people are showing genuine enthusiasm and genuine sincerity. And so if there's any awkwardness, that's take that out. People have a certain warmth when they view others and they view you yourself. For example, when I meet somebody, let's just say from Europe or from Spain or from South America, as I started to say, I was confused whether I start with the left or the right or with the left, right, and the left. But in any event, whatever it is, I try to go with the flow and very frankly, we know that that might be possibly how people greet others, and there's an anticipation, even though it's not something we do all the time. Uh, but there's some glee, some joy associated with somebody from a different country. And I think that's the beauty of the cross-border transactional matters, is that you see people from different parts of the world. I'm sure I haven't done a deal with Eskimos, but maybe we'll rub noses one day. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. I'm sorry if I didn't know whether this is the forum that's open, but I did wanted to chime in.
Yeah, it's good to discuss freely. I was just starting, but it's not supposed for me to be speaking all the time. So if you wanna, someone else wants to share their
Okay, if I may,
experiences, of
if I may
course.
join. Hi.
Yes.
Hello to
Hello.
everybody. I'm coming from Montenegro, and this is for the first time to join to this kind of conversation with the distinguished members of our global. I have some doubt or dilemma, and I really need your opinion. In a recent period of time, we all noticed that communication is moved from email communication to WhatsApp, Telegram, etc., etc. And very often it is happened among the people who are serious business. Of course, there is advantages of WhatsApp communication because it is more efficient, but also there is some things which are not most comfortable, as you know. So is it rude to I ask my international clients, we are a company which is designed to give full legal, administrative, and any other support exclusively to the foreign investors here in Montenegro. So is it rude to I insist to our communication be by email, or I will be old-fashioned guy?
Well, I don't think that's rude. I think if you prefer to use email and are not comfortable using WhatsApp because of maybe the nature of the work or for other reasons, then I don't think that's rude.
Yeah, if I could jump in, we always insist on only email communication because of the ability to search and to deal with attachments more easily. Second, I'm sure many of you do not use the WeChat, but if you do, it is not private. There are issues in terms of third parties, including the government, having access to it, and we feel, particularly in some sensitive issues, that we deal only with issues, particularly in M&A situations where you might be closing down a plant, where there might be employees affected. You want to be sure to keep that in a very confidential, highly sensitive file or pocket. I've been invited people, or people have invited me sometime to have lunch. And I spent half an hour trying to look at which platform they'd invited me on. I don't know whether it's WhatsApp, Zalo, Line, WeChat, God forbid, too many things. So email is what we always insist. I'll leave it at that.
Thank you.
We are in
I
our company.
also wonder. Sorry, go on, Marie.
I'm sorry. I would just say that in our company we're not allowed to take it without sending emails, like because of the security as well, the compliancy. So we only do like text besides emails, like in SMS or WhatsApp and stuff, if it's just to arrange a meeting or something, but not sending out other informations. Yeah. So I will prefer emails as well.
Me too, but I was afraid that I will be old-fashioned guy.
I think
Even,
not at all.
even I am, of course.
Then an email and a Snapchat.
Yeah.
Ari, you wanted to share something?
No, I was just going to say, I think it's really been echoed already by the others, but I think that also as well, I find that I have clients that have my work mobile number, and they will occasionally send me WhatsApps, but I usually try and limit it to kind of organizing. If like I need to speak to them, are you free to speak today via WhatsApp sort of thing? But generally speaking, case management systems that we use in our firm, they're geared towards emails. It's very efficient when an email comes in for it to be saved to the relevant file. Whereas with WhatsApp, you of course then have to sort of either screenshot it or somehow forward it on, to yourself to then save it to the case management system. So it introduces a sort of an additional amount of work and time that ultimately isn't necessary. So I agree with the others, Dan, that I think that you would be entitled to gently steer your clients back towards emails as opposed to carrying on via WhatsApp.
I think the WhatsApp tendency is happening because more and more clients want things to be quick. So if they just text us and we reply like straightforward, they will save 10, 15, 20 minutes. And that's why. But yeah, I think it depends on what are we speaking about. But normally I always say, okay, I will like summarize what we spoke here by email and we can follow up. But most of them, they just insist on texting me by WhatsApp and to deal with things by WhatsApp. So it depends. But yeah, we need to put everything on the email. Also to give us some like safeness about what we are saying, because otherwise they can say, no, you did not say this, you did say that, and everything gets confused. So I think the email is good to keep the information and the formality that some matters require, but the WhatsApp gives them the quick advice they just want sometimes, and we need to also give them that once in a while. If it's simple, of course, it's not making a legal analysis super complicated on 10 minutes, not that. But if they just want to check this or that, I think it's okay to give them that. In Portugal, it's normal to do this. No, it's not that that weird. Okay, so now we can speak about other things that may impact your cross-border relationships in this case, that I think is an important one. That is the difference of languages and the translation loss that gets when you want to say some things and sometimes translated it's not quite the same and people can get misunderstood. I don't know if you had a situation where this happened, when were you trying to say something and the other person interpreted it completely differently and you had quite a problem here. I don't know if any of you can think about.
I recall an occasion, this is many years ago, I was a paralegal at the time, and I'd gone with my supervising partner to see a client, and he was a catastrophic injury lawyer, so that was sort of brain, spinal injuries, and the client was Polish and needed an interpreter. And what was quite tricky, I think, for my supervising partner was that he went to take basically her witness evidence as far as he could in light of the brain injury. And he would ask a question, the interpreter would then translate and ask the question. And, then they would then talk for quite long periods of time. And then the interpreter would just say, she says no. And, the partner was like sort of thinking, well, you've just spoken for sort of 5 minutes, like what was said, I need to understand that. So, that's quite an interesting point in terms of how the language barrier just in that particular situation kind of, affected the ability to take kind of a proper witness evidence, really. But it was just slightly funny as well. They talked for a long time and then she just said, oh no, she says no. That was it. But...
Anyone else?
Not per se where language was a problem in translation, but what we do see a lot from the Netherlands is that a lot of official documentation in the Netherlands, for instance, when you incorporate a company, it's all in Dutch. And most clients don't want to pay a lot of money to have everything translated into English. So we try to summarize the content as good as we can, without it being a full translation. But that can often lead to like misunderstandings with the client or clients not entirely grasping what's the purpose of certain things. So that does cause some complications sometimes. Same goes for communication with the tax authorities. That's often in Dutch, where we have to write a letter to the tax authorities on behalf of the client. And then obviously the client wants to know what we're writing. So it's always a bit of a haggle between providing them with a full legal translation of what we're writing and giving them like a quick summary of what we're writing to make sure that they understand the main topics.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's true.
Go ahead,
Peter. Yes.
Language is always an issue, particularly obviously we work in Chinese for the most part, but for most of our agreements, they're always bilingual, English being the other half. But what I found over the years, and I've done a lot of M&A transactions, Language is just a part of it, but is a small part of it. What is the problem is the culture, the understanding of what the words mean in a cross-border transaction. It's quite possible that perhaps this is a little bit dated information, but as you know, in M&A, the big issue these days is the representations and warranties insurance. This is very popular in the Western world, but it's very new, perhaps on the China side, and so more often people understand it, but intuitively they don't understand it. They don't understand why there's a need for it. I never done anything wrong. Everything is perfect. Why do you need insurance for this? Who's going to pay for it? You pay for it. And so that's where I think oftentimes there's a disconnect. It's not just the words themselves or the language, but is the culture, is the understanding of the nature of the provision.
Thank you very much. If anyone wants to continue, feel free to do it. I think this is an interesting topic that I think all of us
hello,
fight.
Everyone.
Hello.
I'm new here. Hi, Peter. I'm also in Shanghai.
Hi.
Yeah, nice to meet you. I really
Nice to meet
agree
you.
with what you said just now. Since I have been assisting many foreign, especially US and European enterprises to invest in China, and when we do M&A projects, we usually use the European or US contract template. And at the very beginning, you will find the wording. You mentioned the warranties and the representations very difficult to understand by the local Chinese entrepreneurs, and we have to explain to them. And the chances are that even they have set up the joint venture and they kind of get marriage, but actually they don't understand each other. So we have also handled with many divorce of the JV. That means foreign shareholders and Chinese shareholders cannot understand each other, and their concept of operation of the enterprise is totally different. And recently, there are less and less European countries investing in China for whatever reason, but we have assisted many Chinese enterprises to invest outside of China, especially the Middle East and Southeast Asia. And during the process, we find it's kind of difficult for us to understand some countries, especially some countries with a strong background of religion. Because as you know, Chinese is actually not that of a religious country. We don't believe in gods. But for example, we help a Chinese enterprise to invest in Thailand. Then you have to understand their religious belief and obey the local laws and regulations about their religious holidays and how to manage the local staff. And also, when we invest in Southeast Asia, we also find that when we deal with some government issues, they may ask us some extra fee to policies and e-commerce. So sometimes we find it's really a challenge for us to invest outside of our own country. So that is what I record recently. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Good comments. I totally agree.
Any
But
other
then we're
comments
both
on
in
this?
Shanghai. Then we're both in Shanghai. That's why I totally agree. But anyway, that's another story.
Don't be shy, you can speak. It's good to discuss these things.
Yeah, no, it's I completely agree as well. It's culture, and for some countries, indeed, religion can play a major part in how things are done there, and also their understanding of how things how they think things are done in other countries.
We have only 5 minutes left, guys. I was just informed. So if you want to share some last minute thoughts, or just to keep discussing these, you are free to do this. Maybe I will just introduce a thing that I'm struggling with. I don't know if you normally deal a lot with family law or not, but I do this most of the time. And what I found the most difficult is to discuss the jurisdiction and the governing law that applies to things, especially when people get married in one country and then get divorced on the other. And sometimes it's super difficult to understand the assets regime and prenups, and to try to make an analogy to our country when people are living here and try to divorce here. I don't know if you struggle a lot with this too, but these court cases that have international aspects are sometimes difficult even for our judges to understand the applicable law and try to apply it in a different country.
Well, we don't do marital law at our firm, but of what I know is that what's mine is yours and what's yours is yours whenever you get a divorce.
I know what you mean, Carolina. I'm a family lawyer too. So
Okay.
when you have a client come in to see you and there is that international aspect, or they may sort of split their time across 2 countries, for example. And I think, what I always sort of say is that, well, you need to take advice also from the other jurisdiction, because we need to be able to make a comparison about how the respective courts are going to treat approach the division of assets. So if you I think London is generally considered to be sort of a fairly sort of favorable place to get divorced, because we have a sort of a sharing and needs-based principle with quite a broad discretion, whereas some other countries have fairly sort of strict regimes. So I always think it's about trying to make sure the client is, I suppose, has that information. And I'm happy to speak, for example, to lawyers in other jurisdictions, so that analysis can be presented in sort of a joint way. But it is tricky, and I'm not qualified to advise, obviously, in other countries about how that law operates. So it's just about trying to put the client in the best possible position, I think. But that would be my view on it anyway.
Yeah, and I think that's also where we can all use the network a lot, because it does give you access to people in those other jurisdictions that you can use to ask questions and check things. I do it a lot.
Exactly. This is my first IR Global meeting as well. I only joined quite recently, but I've already kind of made use of it in that way. And I've got a case which needed legal advice in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So we went through the IR Global network to reach out to a lawyer over there, and he assisted us with some digging into assets in the Turks and Caicos Islands. So I think it is a really useful network in that sense.
Yeah, it's super helpful. We have a lot of people from abroad that have inheritances in Portugal, and we need to speak a lot of times with lawyers from those countries, especially the UK. A lot of British people are leave houses in the Algarve, so we need to solve it. But yes, it's very helpful to be in this network because of that. And 1 minute remaining. I can say that we just present ourselves, to say goodbye and say where we are from, and for future reference if we want to share some contacts. So I'm Carolina from Portugal.
I'm Hub from the Netherlands.
You need to be quick, guys, because it's going to
Joey
I am
from
Harry
China.
from Denmark.
Peter Pang, Shanghai.
Harry White, England.
Bogdan Koric
I'm Naomi from
Romania.
Nigeria.
From Nigeria.
Abes Lakwa
Nice.
from Tunisia.
I really enjoyed that, Carolina. That was quite funny. Everyone said it all at the same time.
Yeah.
Everyone is just coming back into the main room. But we've only done half an hour. So what we're going to do is we're going to mix you up now so you get the chance to speak with others, because there's quite a lot of people on the call and I want you to get to connect with as many people as possible. So whilst I am doing that, we are going to do another photo because we had some late joiners and I want to make sure that I've got you all on the picture. And Nicole is going to very quickly just mix the rooms up whilst I do it. So if I could get you all to put your cameras on if you can, so I can get another photo, that would be amazing. And then I will count you in 3, 2, 1. Perfect. You are all super. So yes, we're going to pop you into another room, just do another 15 minutes or so that you can connect with some more people. And then we'll bring you back in to this room after. I'm just waiting for the nod from Nicole when she swapped you all over. Yeah, you're going to go back into a different room.
Well, I'm still here. I must be homeless.
You'll be moving shortly, don't worry. Or you might stay in the main room.
Hopefully that should have moved everyone around.
Nicole, I'm really homeless. I'm still here.
No, with 3
Yeah.
still
No,
in the
you
same
guys-
room.
These 3 are all
Let
from
me
the
let
same
me move you
room.
around a
Let's
little
move
bit.
Just going to switch you up a second. How was that session ahead, Sham? All good?
Yes, it was interesting. We had
Good.
a mix of accountants and lawyers with different views.
Good. Well, I'm about to hand you over to these guys to mix it up and just have a further chat with those as well. So I will dip out and turn my camera off and I'll leave you guys to it.
Sure. Thank you, Kate. Hello, everyone. If we could have a quick round of introduction. Some of you might know me, some of you not. Hi, Bolton. Okay, I have Aarti again.
Hi, Atisham.
Even Matthew. Hi.
Hi everyone.
Hello, everyone.
Hello, everyone.
I was in another
Hi.
room before.
Yes.
Yeah, they changed
Nicole,
it.
Sorry guys,
Aarti
I
and,
just had to
Matthew
move them
over.
around a little bit.
Sure. Okay.
So
Anyway,
there is
we
still
can
the
still
internet working.
we can continue. Bogdan, why don't you go ahead and introduce yourself?
Hello, all. I am Bogdan Koric. I'm a lawyer from Romania. We're a mid-sized law firm. We handle everything except criminal law and family law by ourselves. So I'm gonna hand it up to the next person.
Abesh Lakua. I don't know if I'm pronouncing it correctly.
Hi, I'm Abes Lakwa from Tunisia. Nice to meet you all.
Would you like to
Abesh.
introduce a
Nice to
bit
meet you.
more?
Yeah, I'm a lawyer in Tunisia, as I said, and I'm a partner here in Brothers Law firm. My father was the founder of this firm, and practice in corporate law, commercial law, taxes, and transfrontalier transaction, this kind of stuff. So I'm new in ER Global. I just begin my membership, so it's my first meeting, and I'm happy to be with you.
Likewise. Joey, would you like to introduce yourself?
Oh, sure. Hello, everyone. I'm Joey from China, and I'm a corporate and commercial lawyer. I have been practicing law in China for almost 15 years. And for the first 7 years, I assisted many European and US companies to invest here in China. And for the current 7 years, I have assisted many Chinese enterprises to invest outside of China, and that's also one of the reasons why I joined IR Global, because I can collect with so many lawyers from different countries. Then when I have projects in that country, I can have a very quick way and professional and also reliable way to find a partner to do the project together. So looking forward to cooperate with each of you in the future. Thank you.
Thank you, Joey. Aarti, would you like to introduce yourself?
Yeah, I was
I know
waiting
you,
for the
but for the
compliment.
others.
So yeah, my name's Aarti. I am a lawyer in London. I work for a firm called Gunnar& Cook. I do dispute resolution and commercial litigation. This is my first year in IR Global. I'm very excited to be here. But my supervising partner, Shilpan Savani, has been part of IR Global for a couple of years. So I've joined through him essentially. But yeah, I'm very excited to meet everyone and hopefully be joining in May for the Rising Stars conference. But yeah, thank you.
Javier, would you like to introduce?
Hi everyone, I'm Javier from Argentina. I have a medium-sized law firm. We help foreign companies operating in Argentina and Argentine companies or high net worth individuals doing businesses outside of Argentina. Good to meet everyone.
Thank you, Javier. Maria, would you like to introduce yourself? Maria. Maria, you're on mute. You are muted, Maria. If you're driving, you can.
Sorry. I'm sorry. Because I'm driving, I'm sorry. But I'm in Mexico City. I work for Canizzo Law Firm. It is a firm founded 40 years ago by Italian lawyers in Mexico. So we have a very good relation with European countries doing business in Mexico. And we are pioneers in real estate. I'm in marketing and business development. And my partner, Carlo Canizzo, is very active in this organization. He tries to travel and join some events. And I was just wondering if I can, like enhance our relation with other countries and doing business, because more than ever, Mexico is very open to do business cross border. So thank you.
Thank you, Maria. Joey, you said you work a lot and are exploring to work more and more on cross-border matters. So could you throw some light on difficulties and challenges with the time zones, language, and cultural expectations that you've come across, and how have you overcome it?
Well, yes, it is, very interesting because, as I told you, the Canizzo family is from Italy. So our mindset is like very, open to foreign cultures. So it's interesting how we can mix, the understanding of how to do business in Mexico and understand the way to do business in other countries. So beyond language, I think the culture is challenging sometimes because, for example, in Germany, I had the opportunity to live in Switzerland 8 years. So I understood that, for example, in Germany, in Switzerland, when you said you will have this information in 5 minutes, it's 5 minutes. In Mexico, sometimes it's like, okay, whenever it is ready, I will provide this information for you. And sometimes it can be like challenging, no, to understand how, the time is very important for different countries. But more than ever in Mexico, we need to do everything with international standards. So I think in the case of the government, sometimes you are struggling to do that kind of things on time, because you like law firm, you are committed with your clients to do everything as fast as possible, but sometimes not always depends on you, but you are trying to do your best. So I think that is one of the challenges, no, to do our best in terms of negotiation with local authorities to provide our clients the best service possible. But of course, we are very open to do, international business. And of course, there's always uncertainty, there's always a risk, but in terms of compliance and know of regulation and everything, I think you can be very aware that lawyers in Mexico are very well prepared to do their best.
Thank you, Maria. Joey, would you like to go ahead and throw some light on what challenges you've encountered in time zones and languages, as well as
yes,
cultural
indeed.
expectations? Yeah.
Yeah, I'd like to share two of my experiences recently when in which I cooperate with lawyers from other countries, and what I found the challenge in the process. The first case is an anti-dumping case that I cooperate with a U.S. lawyer. And the U.S. lawyers I cooperated are really professional, but I think one of the challenges is that different lawyers in different countries have different working habits. For example, I used to write emails since I worked a lot with foreign clients, but most of the Chinese lawyers or Chinese clients tend to use more fast communication ways. For example, the text messages or we have in China we have WeChat that is a kind of communication app. It is not only our daily life app but also our working life. So have a very high requirement that lawyers will respond in a very timely manner. But we know that the US lawyers only reply by emails, and they may take 2 or more days to reply to an email. Then we have to explain because to our Chinese clients, we have already urged the US lawyers to push forward, but they have not yet replied to the emails. So the Chinese clients will put much pressure on us because they cannot directly communicate with the US lawyers. So they will put all the pressure on us to push forward the US lawyers. But as we, from our side, we totally understand the US lawyers have their own working pace. They are doing their work. We cannot urge them to reply very fast like Chinese lawyers do. So that is what we have to balance between the clients and our lawyer partners in other countries. And the second experience
I think Joey's frozen.
I think for most European countries, it's more easier to cooperate because we can easily find lawyers who speak English. But in Southeast Asian countries, maybe it's not that easy. And when they don't speak English and communicate, also some countries there is a very strong background of religion. I'm sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay, so for the Southeastern Asia countries, I think to find a local lawyer who is good at English is for me. So that's what I want to share with you. Thank you.
Thank you, Julie. Bogdan, would you like to share your experience?
Well,
As a company, we dealt and we deal with a lot of foreign clients, and of course, for foreign partners or collaborators, as the case may be. We have a lot of lawyers or accountants sharing their clients with us. So we have two main elements. We have the clients themselves, and depending on their nationality, they can be very straightforward or very, how can I put this? Very polite, but in a quite a harsh manner, as the British generally are. British clients, for instance. It takes a little while to get used to it, but when you get used to it, you understand them perfectly. It's just a difference of attitude. With US clients, they tend to be very direct. If you mess something up, they're going to tell you immediately. And of course, the best thing to do is try to mimic their behavior. They are addressing you in a manner, you should address them in the same manner. As in going too direct with a person that generally communicates in a more polite manner, not so straightforward, may cause, let's say, a bit of a distress in your relationship with the client. So it's true. It's true. That's basically, so when it comes to direct, also the Germans are very direct. Every time there is a problem, they're going to tell you, and they're going to tell you, the Americans are going to tell you directly, and it's like no hard feelings. This is the situations. This is the situation. From a foreign, what else can I tell you about this? I'm gonna stop here because I'm already way over my head.
That's fine. Well, Arti, would you like to go ahead and throw some light?
Yeah, I mean, I've mentioned previously, but I was born and raised in Bahrain, but I'm originally Indian, so I grew up in a very international environment, so it's not necessarily been too difficult to adapt to tone and cultural expectations. I guess I haven't done a lot of work internationally, but with clients, it's just meeting them where they're at, and usually just gauging the sort of directness of their tone and how approachable they are. But I've found that it's usually just best to keep things quite simple, not try to over explain and sort of maintain a level where it's easy for them to approach you as well. So just a good line of communication helps with understanding the personality of the client, regardless of the international sort of background they're from. But yeah, again, because of primarily work with clients from the UK, so we have worked with clients from the US and Singapore and outside the UK. It's not been too difficult because I've grown up in that environment. So it's not been too difficult to communicate with them in that manner. But yeah, as in, I'm sure the more cross-border work I do, it'll be something for me to keep in mind, especially peering their experiences with wider clients and specific cultural expectations or managing those as well. So it's quite interesting to hear your experiences on that.
Thank you, Arti. Abis, would you like to go ahead? We just have 1 minute. Abis or Javier, whoever would like to speak first. I think with us.
Sorry. I was
You have 40 seconds left.
No, nothing. I think it was very interesting to receive all the different experiences, and looking forward for the next IR. Thank you, Kate and Nicole, for setting this up, and looking forward for the next one and meeting everyone in person in one of the conferences.
Everyone is just coming back in now. So Again, thank you everybody for your time today. It has been a pleasure to have so many of you on the call. A special thank you to my hosts that have helped out in the breakout rooms. You have been amazing. And I just want to remind you all that there are some sessions left this week. So if you want to join any of the other virtual conference sessions, please feel free to have a look at the program online. A big thank you to our sponsors, Blumenfeld. They couldn't make the call, but they have sponsored the whole event for us. But also, if there are any members who are on the call that have seen how amazing all of these rising stars are and want to add anyone to the program so that they can learn and grow with all of these, then please feel free to reach out, because it is such an amazing program and the group are working so hard to make sure that it continues to be brilliant and putting in all their input. For the rising stars on the call, please make sure that you check your emails, because I know that Erica has sent out the details for the Rising Star event. So please keep a lookout for that. And everyone else, again, just a huge thank you. And I hope you all have a great day, evening, and I will hopefully catch up with you on another session soon. Thank you so much. Have a good time. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone. See you all soon.
Thanks.
Bye.
Thank you.
Thanks,
Bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.